Part 3, how to break the worry habit before it breaks you. And we will start with section 6, how to crowd worry out of your mind. And in this section, Dale Carnegie talks about how it's difficult to worry while engaged in an activity that requires, thinking and planning, like active mental processes. Here I have a quote by George Bernard Shaw. The secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to bother about whether you are happy or not. And that rings true. That really does. I find that when I'm busier with, meaningful work, the worry just goes away. And when the worry does happen, it's usually after I finish the work. So, quick note here, be conscious about the kind of work that you fill your days with, whether it's inspiring and energizing work or, draining work. And I don't advocate for 15-hour work days. You saw a little, it was mentioned in this section in the actual book. Yeah, I don't advocate for that. But I don't know, maybe 15-hour work days work for you. Maybe. We're all different. So I have a question here, a real simple one. How can you integrate more meaningful and engaging work into your day? And once you've answered that, I have one more for this section. The question is, what work activities have you been putting off until a later time? How can you make time in your day to pursue your most meaningful work or hobbies? Now, I have a hint here. If you watch TV, cutting down on your watching time might be a good way to, make more time for the meaningful work. I find that if I'm watching TV when I know I have work to do, it's really actually mentally draining for me. Which can lead to more worry. I don't know if it's the same for you, but that's how it is for me. And since I've been preparing this course, I've kind of cut down my TV watching time a lot. So that concludes section 6. Section 7. Don't let the Beatles get you down. And wasn't this such... Oh, this section really rang true for me. Because it says here, the Dale Carnegie said, we tend to be very resilient when it comes to the huge challenges we have in our life. And then the small daily annoyances added up can really actually have the power to completely destroy our life. Those little things, like your favorite team losing a game. That's pretty traumatic. And these little things, it's such a cliche, but they are the big things. So, I have a question here. What little things in life have a tendency to get to you? Make a list of whatever little things come to mind. What are some possible solutions to alleviate these little worries? Set an intention to abolish your worry when these things happen. And do your best to follow through. I've been struggling with it, but I've been getting better since I've taken this course. I really have. And I wish you the best. Come back for section 8. Section 8, a law that will outlaw many of your worries. And it's the law of averages. You gotta love sabotaging your worries with logical probability. And that's basically what this section is all about. As you read, basically when you think of a worry, just think, what's the chance that this is actually going to happen? It can help. So I have a question here. What are some of the things that you worry about on a regular basis? And what's the probability, just think, I know sometimes it could be a tough calculation, but what's the probability in your mind that the imagined event that you're worrying about will actually happen? Take proper precautions and do your best to sway the outcome of the event in your favor. But all you can do is all you can do. Use the law of averages to your advantage. Section 9. Cooperate with the inevitable. Another great section. I hope you found it really great as well. Got a quote here by William James, which I love it. Acceptance of what has happened is the first step to overcoming the consequences of any misfortune. Acceptance of what has happened. I have another quote here. It is not miserable to be blind. Controversial. It is only miserable not to be able to endure blindness. Interesting. The key is to absorb the shocks of life rather than to resist them. When they made as you read in the book, when they made the tires, they first made them to resist the road, and they all broke. But when they made them to absorb the shocks of the road, those tires, they held strong. Good metaphor, by the way. So, I have one question here for this section. So Dale Carnegie, he did lose his finger when he was young. He did talk about that at the beginning of the section. And he benefited from accepting that. So what are some unpleasant things or situations in your life that you would be better off, or you would benefit from accepting rather than resisting? Like tough things that are going on. So do your best to accept these and live around them. Devoting your energy more towards things that you can change. It's a really great way to, allocate your mental energy on things you can change. Section 10. Put a stop-loss order on your worries. And again, another very interesting idea. How you can buy stock, for $50 and then set a stop-loss order to automatically sell it if it dips below a certain point. I guess that's called cutting your losses. And I have one question here. What areas of your life or activities could you put a stop loss on? How can you cut your losses even when situations don't go into your favor? Again, a kind of brainstorming question. Hope you have fun answering it. The final section of part 2. Don't try to saw sawdust. Have a little quote here. Don't cry over spilt milk. Worrying about the past is like trying to saw sawdust. It cannot be done. Well, it can be done. Worrying can be done, but you can't change it, unfortunately. So, what things have you been worrying about lately that are completely out of your control? How can you stop worrying about them? I have a hint here. Remember that you are going to die. Think about the grand scheme of things. And once you've answered that question, that concludes part 3. Actually, I mentioned part 2 a few minutes ago. It's part 3 that we just finished. So, when you're ready, move on to part 4. I'll see you there. Thank you.